Hey everyone, I'm Empathy, and this is the third devlog for my open-world indie game, Vitality. Since the last devlog, I've finalized new details of Vitality's story, and I've made a new feature that makes defeating enemies worthwhile and rewarding. This devlog will cover the new story, how this new feature works mechanically, updates to the inventory, and more. If you want to test out these new features, the link to the game is in the description, or at empathy.itch.io/vitality. That's right, I've started to work on the Plains model. Once the model's complete, all I have to do is add content in the world like caves and quests and enemies. Not a lot of progress has been made so far, but I'm working on it, and I've made the base floor for the area, along with a few of the landmarks across the world. I've also remade the town in the new Plains area, but I haven't properly remade the NPCs or the interior of the town just yet. The next update should have that, though. As the Plains area isn't done, it won't be included in the new update, but once it's done, it will be released for playtesting. Now, for the new story that I've made. The story of Vitality centers around crystals and crystal shards. Wizards in the currently unnamed world of Vitality have a shard of crystal within their heart. The shard in their heart is what powers their magic. Other shards, however, can boost their power further. These shards do contain power, but not as much as full crystals do. There are 4 crystals, each powering the environment of each area. The evil lord that's taken over Vitality's world has corrupted each of the 4 crystals, leading to environments around the crystals to become corrupted and dead. These zones of corruption became known as the Deadlands, for the gray color that the life and the plants would turn. The evil lord also created powerful boss monsters to protect the crystals. When these monsters are defeated, the crystals will get uncorrupted and the Deadlands for that area will be healed. The crystal in each area will have an element assigned to it. The Plains area has a nature crystal. The volcano area has a fire crystal. The swamp area has a water crystal. And the forest area has the earth crystal. Crystal shards in Vitality sort of take the place of a weapon system in another game. Each crystal shard doesn't boost a stat like an attack stat like a weapon would, but instead they have specific effects, all that boost your attack power. They also have a random chance to be dropped by enemies, and each enemy can drop a random type of shard. Shards are a way to allow players to choose their own playstyle, and allow differences between different players, as 3 shards can be equipped at one time, and the effects of shards will stack with one another. For example, if you had 1 shard that boosts your fire spells equipped, your fire spells would do 1.2 times damage. But if you had 2 shards, your fire spells would do 1.44 times damage. And if you had 3 shards that boost your fire spells would do 1.73 times damage. First, for shard types, we have the Shard of Fervor, a shard that boosts the strength of your fire spells. Next, we have the Shard of Devotion, which can boost the power of your earth spells. There's also the Shard of Zeal and the Shard of Passion, which are shards that boost your water and nature spells respectively. Then, the shards of Stubbornness, Perseverance, Persistence, and Selflessness, do the same as the 4 previously listed shards, but boost your defense toward enemy attacks of that element. So, Fervor would make your fire spells do more damage, but Stubbornness would make you take less damage from fire. The shards of Courage and Resilience have less of an effect, but it applies to all. So for example, Courage would make all of your spells more powerful, but it would have a weaker effect than the other shards. Resilience would make you stronger against all enemy attacks, but again, weaker. I've only made 2 more types of shards, the Shard of Flightiness, which increases your movement speed, and the Shard of Stealth, which gives you a dodge chance for enemy attacks. If you have an idea for another Crystal Shard effect, leave it in the comments below. Crystal Shards can also be leveled up by defeating enemies, which gives Vitality a sense of progression and more reason to fight enemies between dungeons. Leveling up shards increases their effect up to a max level of 50. For example, a level 1 Shard of Fervor would multiply your fire spell's power by 1.2 times. A level 25 Shard of Fervor would multiply it by 1.45 times. And a level 50 would multiply the power of your fire spells by 1.7 times. Additionally, the 4 crystals will grant you a chunk of the crystal as a reward for clearing their dungeon and defeating the boss. Crystal chunks are more powerful than shards and will have a stronger effect. This encourages players to clear the dungeons and complete the story instead of rushing to fight the Dark Wizard immediately, although that still is an option. Next, I updated the inventory to have 3 different pages, one for default items or food items, one for crystal shards, and one for key items. This is just the start of the inventory updates. I definitely think that it needs more, but for now, it's a decent starting point. Each inventory has a max size of 20 items, and I don't think that's big enough, so I'll have to fix that in future. Right now, it'll work fine for the size of the demo so far. This is definitely still a beta version of Vitality, so be sure to take everything with a grain of salt, especially the inventory. Last video, Omurice commented, "Holy, this looks absolutely nuts. Can't wait to play." Thanks Omurice, it should be even better now with these new updates. Next, Shishkabop said, "The game looks amazing. Will you be implementing some kind of reaction with the spells, or combinations?" I don't plan on having any spell combinations in Vitality, but a reaction between multiple spells might be an interesting way to make puzzles in the future. Overall, I think that a reaction between multiple spells won't be a feature in Vitality, but there's a chance that it will. If you want to appear in the next video just like these commenters, make sure to leave a comment below. That's going to be all for this devlog and this update, so make sure to check out the game in the description below. Enemies won't drop shards in the current demo, as I find that there wouldn't be enough enemies to allow players to properly experiment with the shards. When the demo with the full plains area releases, the shards will be included then. Until next devlog, subscribe!